Good evening, ShadowZone fans. This is your ghost host with the most, Brian James. And with me, my special surprise right over there. That
Hello.
would be that handsome feller, that little devil, my nephew, Dylan Ray James. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. It's exciting to be here again.
Hey, most definite. First time you been on with me, though, buddy.
This is true. Last time I was just given the phone. It's
Yeah. Hope you can
exciting.
keep up.
I will try.
Oh, Irene says hi. And hi, Brian. David Marshall says, hey, Brian. What is up, everybody? It is good to see each and every one of you tonight. We have a banging show tonight, Dylan.
Well, I'm excited. I don't know what we're working with though. I'm just a little excited here. I'm
Dude,
nervous.
we've got the Spirit Guides Paranormal on tonight. And let me tell you, this last show we did a couple months ago, oh my gosh, dude. It was a riot fest all the way through.
And I'm expecting it to be fun then.
Oh yes, oh yes. And hello, Sherry. Thank you for joining the podcast tonight. And Irene, looking good, better now. Oh, thank you. Little miracle girl on the beard. It's all good. Don't worry, Dylan. One day soon, you'll grow a beard like me.
One day I'm still working on it. He's got a little scruff around here,
Hey, little scruff is better than no scruff, right?
This is true. This is true. At least I have something to show.
Absolutely. Well, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring on 2 of the 4 Spirit Guides. And Shazam. Why, hello there, guys.
Hi, folks.
How you guys doing today?
We're good. Thanks.
All right.
How are you?
Doing pretty good. How about
I definitely can't complain too much, and if I did, nobody would care and want to hear about it anyways.
Oh, we can.
So how are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing good. Try to stay warm. We had 60 degrees yesterday, and it's 20-something today.
Yeah.
You guys sound like Spokane. The weather can't make up its mind until May or June.
Well, I had to
Me
drink
too.
Mother Nature's beer because she wasn't too happy. She told me to hold it.
You can get all 4 seasons in a day in Virginia.
Yep.
Oh yeah, up here you get March, and it's March and April. You'll get 60-degree weather. It'll be windy, rainy, snowy, hail, back to wind, sunshine, all within 20 minutes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like Virginia.
Yeah.
It's lovely weather up here.
the similarities are uncanny?
Truly.
So I haven't had the honor of having you guys on my podcast here in a few months. What's been going on lately, guys?
Just been staying busy.
We've been working on our agenda for the year. We've got,
Uh-oh.
yeah. We're doing a few events, which always keeps us really busy. And then we've got a few things going
For fun.
on just for fun, just for us. The events are kind of a big deal, though. So those keep us really busy. First big one's coming up in May. Actually, we've got one coming up this weekend.
Ooh, what's coming up?
Yeah, this coming weekend.
We're doing a gallery reading at the church, our first one.
Our first actual gallery reading.
Nice.
With the
Yeah.
magical Merlin, which you guys will meet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more when you bring Merlin on. And
Most definite.
they're both going to be helping out with that.
Beautiful. Sherry says, how is everyone this evening?
We're good, Sherry.
We're good,
Nice
Sherry.
to meet
How
you.
are you?
And Irene says, it's sunny here. You know what, Irene? I'm coming to Japan. You can come to Spokane. We'll switch places for a few days. I need a suntan.
Oh, some hockey.
Something.
And Irene says, I hear music. Uh-oh. So you say Merlin. All right. Let's bring Merlin to the party. And while we're at it, let's bring Cheryl Ann to the party, too.
Merlin disappeared. It's just a
Merlin, I
hat.
just see the top of your hat, Merlin. There she is.
There you go. Ooh, there she is.
Ha! Ha!
There you go.
There we go. Is that right?
That's
There
right,
you
man.
go. You got it.
Ah,
David.
Whoa, must be nice and warm.
Welcome to the ShadowZone podcast, Merlin.
Well, thank you.
We were just talking about this weekend's gallery reading a little bit. Doing the sensitive and psychic medium stuff is nothing new to Spirit Guides, but we have not put it in the format of gallery reading yet. Our debut is this weekend.
With our brutal medium, Merlin.
You music, dun dun dun.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm going to drag him in there and beat him on the head and then throw him out the door.
No holds barred with Merlin.
You might.
And
Well, I haven't yet.
that he loves those hats.
Oh, thanks. Hats are kind of our thing.
Merlin is the Mad Hatter.
Yep.
I knew I felt a little mad here somewhere. I thought I was just mental for a second, but now it's all making sense.
Yeah.
Shirley Ann, you need a hat, honey.
Yeah.
She's got her hat. She's seen
I'm just not wearing it.
So,
Your crown.
Oh,
Shell crown.
what kind of reading are you guys doing?
A gallery reading. Have you been to a gallery reading before?
Honestly, I've never heard of a gallery reading.
Oh, well, that's a group psychic mediumship reading. So you get like a whole room full of people. You don't want a whole ton of people, but maybe like 25, 30 people most. And the people who are doing the readings, the psychic medium folks are up in front, and anybody that they're called to, if they have a spirit with them, or even if there's just one in the area, we're going to be doing it in our haunted location anyway, then we get talking about it.
Okay.
That's one thing.
So it's like a group psychic reading, but all of us are there. You have a number of psychics and a number of people in the audience. So rather than a one-on-one, it's group.
Right.
Nice.
group.
That sounds like a blast.
It should be a lot of fun. Wish us luck.
Very much good luck there. So, with your guys' busy season coming up, can you tell us what investigations that we might have to look forward to in the next few months?
Investigations you can join us on, or investigations that we're doing, or both?
Well, if I can join you virtually, I'm there for everyone.
Awesome.
We've been trying to do that on our investigations. You usually get to see us start the location. We promise we come back. We get so
We
active
never do.
and so busy with it, we forget to come back and let anybody know what we found.
No,
Uh-oh.
more. Our first event is actually not so much an investigation thing. We cross the streams a little bit between the metaphysical and psychic worlds and the paranormal world. Our first event, not counting our gallery reading, is the Psychic Fair at Brandy Station, which also has a gallery reading, but that doesn't involve an investigation. The big investigation event that we have going on, and I should say this is all at the historic Fleetwood Church at Brandy Station, which is our location, is the Fleetwood Paracon, which is going to be a full Paracon and then an investigation afterwards. And then after that, we'll be doing the Spirits of Brandy Station event, and that also that's in October, and that's just all centered around investigation of historic areas, specifically stuff that involves the Civil War history.
But September 17th is the return of
The
Fleetwood Paracon. We took a year off due to the COVID, and we had some other stuff to take care of before we could go.
Yeah.
Nice. So for this Paracon, you guys mean to tell me that there's a day full of fun and then an investigation after that.
Yes.
You mean to tell you that, Brian?
You guys have any surprises lined up that you might want to, drop a little hint, nudge, nudge on?
Well, let's see.
Walking Dead.
Yes.
Ooh.
We have a member that was in The Walking Dead who's
There's-
going to show up for the Paracon.
Yeah, Merlin. Why don't you
found
tell him?
him.
You're the one that lined it up.
Marlon, take the spotlight. love.
What?
San
You lined
Diego,
him
you
in
found him.
Santiago.
Santiago. Yeah, he's going to come on down and he's going to hang out and he's going to go look for ghosts with us and everything. It's going to be cool. Very, very cool.
Though, of the season 4 of The Walking Dead is going to be at our Paracon. We're going to have a lot
He
of
also
other
has
people too.
a paranormal comic book going, and he's trying to get a little series going. So he's getting his foot in the paranormal.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah.
And
He
us.
definitely likes it.
Yeah.
And he's a little bit sensitive, too. A little bit.
Oh,
Right.
So he's our surprise. You asked about a surprise, and he's the one that it's pretty cool. We got a Walking Dead guy coming.
We also have the Ghost Finders going to join us again.
Yep, the Ghost Finders.
They're all about restoring locations. In fact, Daniel Klaus is in charge of the Hensdale house we spoke
Yeah,
to
he
you
owns
last
it.
time about in New York. You can go up there and investigate that privately,
But Dan,
along with Wildwood.
Yeah.
He's affiliated with them too.
oh, wow.
Yeah, but the Ghost Finders are on several networks, including Paraflix and a bunch of the streaming networks. And they're going to be special guests at our Paracon too.
Very nice. Very nice. God, I wish I had a way up to Virginia. Hey, Dylan. Dylan.
Yeah, what?
Go to work and loan me some money, man.
You want me to go to work?
I gotta go to Virginia, man. I'm too fat to work.
We can walk.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll
Have
send
you
you horses about halfway.
Virginia, because our location is really cool. We hang out at the historic Fleetwood Church in Brandy Station, Virginia. The Battle of Brandy Station was the largest cavalry battle in the Civil War. And where we hold these events is right in the middle of all of that. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
Put you in a hot spot.
Yeah, we're in huge Virginia Civil War history area. So it's pretty wonderful to have that at our disposal for these events.
So you mean to tell me that you guys are like right smack dab in the middle of a battlefield?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the church itself is right on the edge of the battlefield. We have always been able to investigate the battlefield too, and we hope to continue to. But full disclosure, the state of Virginia is buying the Brandy Station battlefield. So we have to figure out how they're going to let us fit into that if indeed they are.
Yeah.
But there are other locations in Brandy Station that we're working on getting to if we can't get the battlefield proper. It's loaded, so don't worry.
We're still trying to get to 11.
Yes.
We're about 10 and a half right now on the scale.
Did you guys ever watch Spinal Tap? That's what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I aged myself again, didn't I?
So have you guys ever seen the zombie show Z Nation?
Yeah.
Bits and pieces. Bits and pieces of it. I keep trying to watch it and then I lose it and then I don't know what happened when I come back. I don't know. But I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Sure,
How about you, Sherilyn? Have you seen it?
I've seen some of it. Not for a while, but I've seen some of it.
Did you ever see the episode where they were at the really old house with the big Ferris wheel in front of it?
I don't remember. I watch so many good shows. I have no idea.
You see, Z Nation was filmed here in Spokane, and this big house I'm talking about with the Ferris wheel is known as the oldest standing building in Hilliard. It was constructed in 1892. And we actually got to investigate that 3 or 4 times. And man, that was a hot spot.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So, out where you are, Brian, do people do much fundraising for the historic locations? Because there's a lot of that on the East Coast, and that's what we're really into.
Absolutely not.
That's a bummer.
That's too bad.
I have literally tried to do fundraisers for 8 years here in Spokane for historic buildings, overnight investigations, block parties, and I get denied every single time.
You know, you should have those folks reach out and talk to some of the beneficiaries of all the fundraising here on the East Coast, because we do a lot of that stuff, particularly here in Virginia. I can't speak to other states.
But we also run into the same stuff. We don't want to be affiliated with the paranormal.
There is some of that, but the historic Fleetwood Church that we work at, we recently were able to completely replace the old steeple on the church, and it was completely from fundraising funds. We work with our friends at Transcend Paranormal, who are also with us on the Paracon. They're co-planning it. They work at Henricus Historical Park, Hanover Tavern, all of these places, Scotchtown, they all benefit from events that we
periodically
do.
We're called to help them, and we call them to help us.
Exactly. We all help each other on
we're
this
a
stuff.
weird, happy family.
Yeah. And 100% of the proceeds from our ticket sales all go to these locations to renovate them and
we don't
keep
even get
them
gas
going.
money, man.
Get anything out of it except the love of doing it.
But now and again we get pizza.
Sometimes we get pizza.
I'm telling you what, if the state of Virginia takes those spots away from you guys, I will be the first one to sign the petition to say that's bull crap.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to want us to stomp around on the battlefield. It's like, hey, Governor, do you mind if we go hunting ghosts on this? Sure. Because the thing is, then the lure of the money that we can bring them is kind of gone. But when they're privately owned, that's a completely different subject.
Right. Dylan, do you have any questions?
I've actually had a question for a while. I'm not sure if this was actually ever mentioned. Are you guys hosting is it called the
Paracon.
Paracon? Yeah. Are you guys hosting that?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Fleetwood Paracon. We are the hosts. Our co-host is Transcend Paranormal because they bring us their people to help out.
Yep.
Because when we do it proper, we're doing the battlefield. We got several locations in the battlefield we do. So we all run around throughout the night, shifting each location, each person.
So we in Transcend.
In fact, Merlin and Christy, the last spirits of Brandy Station, parked that truck in this weird position.
Okay.
Well, the Spirits Brandy Station event last year, it was pretty funny. We had several locations, and one of them was right on the battlefield. And Merlin and I were moving around from one location to another.
Dress.
We were in period dress. I was wearing this Civil War outfit with a giant hoop skirt, and this hat, but it was decorated differently to look a little more Civil War-ish. And we had gone out to one of the locations on the battlefield with this giant Bluetooth booming speaker that I've got, and I was going to make it do a cannon sound to see if that would be a trigger object for the people out there. So I did. I went out and it boomed a few times, and here comes this guy in a pickup truck with his girlfriend. He couldn't see anybody because our investigators were over the hill. He really couldn't see Merlin and I there at the time. So he comes pulling in, he pulls in under a tree, and you know what they had in mind, country music blaring out of the speakers and everything.
A few drinks, moonlight.
Off the lights.
Right. So I'm thinking, oh, dude, come on, man. I'm having an event here. You can't do this right now. I'm sympathetic, but you can't do this right now. So I start walking towards him in this big hoop skirt. And
Merlin puts a flashlight
puts
like
a flashlight up under her face like this. I'm walking towards him with nothing but moonlight. And all of a sudden, the guy throws his pickup truck in reverse and goes flooring it backwards. And then boom in the ditch. You can hear him.
Tires spinning in the air. It was beautiful.
You can hear him spinning the tires.
By the grace of God, he did not hit that big ass tree.
I know.
He just missed it by a couple feet.
We looked like ghosts.
Merlin, you completely ruined his night. Congratulations.
Actually, I think Christy, I started running his night and Christy topped it off. Because, you know, out of the dark, you know, you just see this woman in a top hat and a big hoop skirt dressed as a widow marching across a Civil War battlefield. And he's like, oh no, it's a ghost. It's a ghost. I got to go. Yeah, we got to go.
Didn't work well.
So yeah, if we host it, it's going to be hilarious.
Right.
Now Shirley Ann is the witch of our group. She's an eclectic witch. And she was at the time, but she was all witched out that night, and I'm sure she would have scared the.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I called you by the wrong. I'm a horrible person. Shirley Ann. Okay.
We'll text you tonight. We're good.
Well, you were Shirley Lynn, but that's okay. You answered to it.
It's almost anything.
I just don't call me late for dinner, and we're good to go.
That's right. Same here. Yeah.
Hands on time.
Always.
Too bad
when you guys are out in the battlefield, you know, do you ever hear like faint musket shots or somebody screaming or cannons or anything like that out there?
People have claimed to. I never heard them. What I heard were the coyotes and the strange mist that comes up on St. James Church when I'm out there. Yeah. Kind of in circles, but never comes in. And you can see the shadows running in tree lines all the way around you. According to the one ghost gentleman, he don't come out and talk to us because them boys are around.
Well, we should hand this one over to Merlin actually, because when she and I were waiting at the St. James Church location, which is one of the 3 locations where we hang out at the battlefield. Merlin, you tell him what happened.
Go, Merlin.
Which time?
When you and I were waiting for the people to rotate, our investigation groups were rotating, and you and I were standing down in the field by the St. James location, and the ghost horse knocked you over.
Oh, the battle of the villains and the heroes. Oh, I'm not sure exactly what we did to upset this gentleman.
Remember when she's talking about ghosts here?
Yeah, ghosts. To me, they're just heads floating in the air doing strange things, and that's another story.
Merlin sees the ghosts. We talked to Brian about this, but now we're on the air live, and people should realize that you see them very, very clearly.
Yeah, I don't see anything else very well, but I see ghosts. Mostly heads, faces, sometimes full bodies. And Christy and I were standing out there, and I look, and there's this guy coming around. He's like circling us and looking at us, very perturbed. And I think he just came charging at me at first, and it was like, I don't know what we've done to upset this gentleman, but he took off. And then I looked in the distance, and I saw him coming towards me again. And I was like, what is, because normally they really can't do a lot of impact to you. So I'm watching him coming straight at me, and at the very last second, I realized there was a horse there as well. And it managed to smack me pretty good. It lifted my feet up off the ground and dropped me to the ground.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, being hit on one of them is a special. It's a very special experience because they do. I mean, the physical impact can be minor, but the energetic impact can be extremely draining. I remember I was mad. I remember Christy was yelling at him.
I was ready to kick his ass, honestly.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to. We had a hero, a champion.
The Lion says Depends on the classification of entity. The wrong kind can tear your intestines.
Yeah, this is true, but usually the ones out there are the ones that I see. The energetic human spirits. They're usually they grab you, they poke you, they punch you, and then they kind of run out of juice. There's some others out there that are can fling you over a staircase if they choose to do so. But I don't want to deal with them.
Been there,
No
done that.
staircase flinging. Yeah,
Yeah.
Donnie did.
I've done airborne.
Yeah, these were standard soldiers that were still out there fighting.
Well, again, you have to realize the battlefield has so much activity because there's so much death, and it's so concentrated. And there's so much blood in that soil that you can't help but have it be active, and to be able to have that kind of energy that can interact with us in such a physical way. There's just so much.
Isn't it quite peculiar how that works out? You know, it seems to be when you get into a spot that has hundreds, if not thousands of deaths in one area, that spot is like a supernova charger. And all these spirits have to do is just come together for a little bit. And I mean, it's like taking Pee Wee Herman into the Incredible Hulk in like 5.2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
This was an incredibly bloody battle, and it's kind of sad to me that these guys are still out there fighting it. They so clearly are. Even, I mean, Merlin sees them clearly, but even I can see them against the wood line, and Shirley Ann, didn't you have your very first audible?
Yes, my first disembodied voice was right there in the battlefield. I was out investigating with one of the groups, and everyone was off playing with their technology, and I was just kind of standing there by myself, and I knew that there was nobody behind me, and there was a voice, a man's voice right in my ear, and it said, "Hear me." And I look around and I realized that the well was right there. So I went around the back of the well, and I was able to see the shadow figure crouched within the reeds right around the well. And so that was my absolutely first disembodied voice. It sounded like a human voice, as if it was really there, right there in my ear. It was absolutely wild.
Well, let me tell you what, you got lucky. You got lucky that thing didn't ask you for dinner.
Actually,
there's problems.
There's not that many bad ones out there.
No.
I mean, yeah, one tried to run over Merlin, but her savior came to save her.
Yeah, we were saved by
another gentleman on a horseback, and actually came back with them to the church to make sure they were safe.
Well, one of them did. We were saved by two.
Well, I just remember you guys telling me about the one.
Yeah, the handsome lieutenant, or the officer. And the other guy that was just, he was like, the Clint Eastwood of Ghost out there. He's like, no, we don't hit women on the field. That ain't right. No, not doing that.
So
yeah,
we were saved. Two women in the middle of the field. We were saved by another ghost from a ghost. It's quite an experience. I'm not sure there's too many people that can say
So not all of them rip your intestines out, whoever said that.
But granted, there are some out there.
Yeah, there's some nasties out there.
Luckily, they're not that.
That's why we push protection.
Yeah.
A gentleman that stays by that tree up in the hill, and he seems to carry all of the despair of the dead and dying on that battlefield. And that guy actually hit one of our team members, Denny, with all of that despair all at once. Denny's a sensitive, and
he's a team member who unfortunately isn't here with us.
Yeah, but he really feels emotions that come off of these spirits, and this guy let loose and just gave him all of the pain and the despair all at once, and we had to get him out of there. So there is that one guy out there, but he didn't bother any of the women that were there in that group. It just they focused just on Denny. So we know to stay away or to protect ourselves extremely well around that tree.
Yeah. Oh, hold that thought 1 second, Dylan.
Okay.
Brian says, that's fair. I'm a different business, so I encounter more of the dangerous kind. I am learning to investigate like you guys do. He also says, if you like, but I am one of the people that get called every time some young kid gets hurt trying to do what you do.
Not everybody should do what we do.
Nah.
I mean, honestly.
We even teach our newcomers, some of them, you got to protect yourself.
You do.
I mean, I got this reason I can't do base readings by myself anymore because I got thrown off the staircase, wrenched my ankle, but this one won't let me do it no more by myself. And neither will the rest of the team.
Well, that's only.
Well, I used to go rogue.
You shouldn't go anyplace by yourself when you're in a haunted location, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. Usually, they're like falling down old buildings, and you could just physically hurt. You know, if there's any kind of, spirit activity, it's just a bad idea to go by yourself. It's always good to go.
No, you always got to team up
with one other person.
And pay attention to your team members. That's one thing that we've learned, and you'll watch. If you ever see any of our videos, maybe you'll see them, where I'm watching my teammates very closely to any change in their eyes, mannerism, anything. We've had a few attachments within our group, and we've noticed it, and we've had to call them and say, hey, you need to step out for a little bit. Let's clear this up, then come back in.
Yeah. You have to keep an eye on each other. You know, it's not so much that they fling you around all that often, but they'll get in your head. And that's probably the biggest danger. But there are ways that you can protect yourself.
Ryan says, that's why United Paranormal Foundation is reaching out to people and set up support and education for people. Yes, absolutely. That is something that is definitely in the works. Is, you know, we want to kind of spread the paranormal, you know, love around, and, you know, for everybody that's just starting out and everything, we want to help, you know, guide them in the right direction and make sure they're not just running out into a battlefield, you know, not knowing what they're doing whatsoever.
Protection is incredibly important. You know,
and we're here to help out with that. So if you guys want us, we're there.
All of our members,
yes,
except Richard.
Richard will tell you what happened on the battlefield.
Richard is our historian, but we are all trained in Reiki to some degree. We have several Reiki masters and some second level and one first level, and just one member who's not. But that helps us with protection.
It's not a requirement to become a member of our team.
Right.
It seems that you want to do it.
Shirley Ann is also a witch. We also have knowledge in just the crystals. Look on Donnie's hat. Some of these, I put much of this together.
Just to protect my bean.
Some of that is protective.
It's tiger's eye.
Yeah.
Nice. And Dylan, you wanted to ask a question. Go ahead, bud.
Okay, so I got a question for all you guys in a sense, and it's about that one investigator you guys were talking about.
Hey, Sarah.
So you said that he was impacted the most. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry about that. But you said he was impacted the most, and he was able to feel the despair of that one ghost, or spirit. Yes. What was his name?
Denny.
Denny?
Yes.
So, Denny, do you think that the spirit understood that how he works, in a sense of like he can feel the emotions of spirits and attached himself to Denny?
It wasn't.
Denny is coming into grip with that.
Yeah, but it wasn't an attachment, but I think the spirit probably did know that he was the most open to it, because the other investigators that were there, we all had ourselves shielded and kind of closed off. And at the time that happened, that Denny got overwhelmed, I had gotten the feeling, everybody back. I was telling everybody to step back. So I felt something coming, but it didn't hit me. I just knew it was there, and I was trying to protect everybody. But he was definitely open, and so the spirit zoned right in on him. So yeah, it was just that kind of that. So did the spirit know? Most likely, it could probably sense where that opening was and took advantage. And then we roasted Denny out of there as soon as possible, got him off the field. He was able to purge himself of it.
It definitely seems that spirits know somehow who is able to sense them, talk to them. You know, they will make themselves more obvious to the ones that know how to do that. And in fact, I have friends who are sensitive to them, but don't necessarily know how to protect themselves very well. 2 friends in particular.
That's
Wherever
funny.
they go, wherever they live, whatever they do, they've got spirits presenting themselves to them. And they need to catch up on the protection part, because it's like the spirits know, look, they know we're here.
They see me.
They do things like, look, here I am.
It's like, this one can speak for me, please.
Please do.
I'm going to speak to you.
Yeah.
Say my words.
But if you're going to do that, then you got to be able to balance out the ability to say, okay, stop, that's enough now.
So that leads me to another question I had. So Shirley Ann, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so you say you're a witch, right?
Yes.
So when you put do you use protection spells?
Yes, I do. I have a few spells that I use, but also I'm always in a state of protection. I have shields up that I have been building for the last 30 years. And so I actually have a hard time kind of letting them down and opening up to things. So I'm always shielded, but I do have extra spells that I do use, and I share them with close associates to make sure they have the same protection I have, especially when we're going into places that are a little bit dicey. We make sure that those spells are used.
Okay.
Now,
Have
Shirley,
them ready for St. Albans.
Yeah, when it comes to our team, you know, that's an area that Shirley Ann takes lead. She helps us with protection when we need to.
nice. Now, Shirley Ann, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of witch are you?
Witch. I don't follow any particular tradition. I follow them all, and I follow none of them. So I sort of, because I'm also a double Gemini, and I'm able to sort of go to the extremes. I cross between being a ceremonial witch all the way through a chaos magician and everything in between. So I go where my strengths are, and again, I take pieces of different traditions that I find. I take threads of them and I weave a tapestry of my own faith and my own power. And that's how I roll. So it's like, I have done public celebrations where I've done public rituals using the Wiccan ritual template so that everybody knows what's happening that has any idea. But that's not really the way I do things on my own. So it's very eclectic. It's very, it's whatever is needed at the moment happens.
Is this something that you can teach people to do?
Yes, in certain ways. It would depend on what their abilities are. I'm actually going to be possibly teaching a few people on top of everything else that we're doing this year. I have a couple of people who are interested in learning, and I'll be teaching them the basic foundations. I'm not going to force them into any tradition or follow any specific set of guidelines or rules, because there really aren't any real rules. But I'll be able to help them create a structure within themselves to work within. Things like the morals, the ethics, the integrity when you're setting up spells, how to protect yourself, how to protect others, not to go against others' will. So yes, I can teach these things, but it's not like training on how to do a specific spell. It's more of a philosophical or sociological type training, psychological training.
Well, you, my dear, are definitely getting my number after the podcast.
All right.
Now, Merlin, my little quiet dark horse in the corner over here.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Okay. So I was told that you're almost legally blind, correct?
No, I am legally blind.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you are legally blind, but you have the ability to see spirits. So when you're out on that battlefield, I mean, do you see both sides of the armies like fighting? I mean, what do you see in the battlefield?
Well,
I had a question like that too.
I beat you to it.
the way it's a very this has been a progression of leading to seeing spirits, because I mean, for years and years and years, I knew they were there. I knew ghosts were there, but I didn't really do anything about it. It was like, well, what are you going to do with that? People are going to have you locked up. But I lived with them. I was aware that they were around. I didn't work it. I didn't go investigate. I moved down here to Virginia, and I got involved in paranormal investigating and started using it more. And the more I did it, the weirder it got in feeling the ghost and doing things like that. And then one day I started seeing these really kind of odd alien looking heads floating around, and I'm going, that's not right. And the more I've done it, the more clear they become. I'm seeing facial features, hairstyles, and it's mostly heads, faces. That seems to be what I see mostly. And if you really want to know where they are, look up. They're not standing in front of you. They're not, if they're traveling, they're over your head, and they're just kind of like we do when we walk around. If we're just walking around, we use our eyes, our ears. We don't think about our legs, arms, our feet. So I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I can see individuals. If I see anything like, I mean, I've seen horses out there, horses and riders. I've never seen them fighting. I know once I was in Gettysburg and we had used a spirit box, and those guys told us that they were still fighting. I don't know why, but they told us that they were. But when it comes to seeing that, I can see the horses milling around. I haven't really seen a skirmish yet.
Well, the next question I have, you are getting thanked, Merlin. The lion says that shaman often say that spirit takes the people's eyes so that they may see better. And then he says, that figures. I keep telling you we contact you through the planes of consciousness first. And then he says, thank you, Merlin. And he bows.
Thank you. And it was Lion?
Yep.
Lion?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I bow
My
to you,
next
sir.
question is you say that you have seen kind of floating alien heads, and actually this is a question for all you. What is your opinion on the fact that we know we share the earth with aliens? We know humans die, we know aliens die. What are the odds that when we're out doing our investigations that we could possibly capture an alien spirit instead of a human spirit?
Marlon, you got this one.
Would there be a lot of alien spirits?
Didn't you see one?
Yeah, I've seen one.
On the battleship?
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
Okay. There may have been a sighting of one.
Yeah, I may have seen one somewhere one time, and the story.
She's been sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, but there was a person somewhere who was discussing an alien that he had run into, and I actually saw the thing. Now, was it just another spirit disguising himself as the alien figure that the gentleman was describing? I don't know. I know it was odd. It was very strange. It was definitely not a human spirit that I was seeing. Could it have been an alien projecting itself in an energetic form? Again, how do we know? But if they're, if aliens died here and they have spirit, energetic spirit energy like we do, I'm pretty sure, we would run into one or two.
It also depends on what your definition is of the aliens, because there's so many different schools of thought out there and theories, because there's the whole, the little gray men, or the little green men. There's that set of theories. Then there's the theories of the lizard people that have taken over our politics. Then there's the whole idea of star seeds, where I've been told I'm a star child, that I am a star seed, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that means. And so those three different theories have completely different possibilities to them as to whether or not you see a spirit of them or not. It's completely different. So if you're seeing a little green man spirit, it could be that's just your filter of what your experience and what you've learned in life. And so that's what you're seeing. You're seeing it through that filter.
Or the thing was filling itself out as the gentleman described it as he saw it.
Right. His filter.
Now, I'm not one for talking religion here, but I have a theory, and David Marshall, you're gonna get a kick in the pants out of this theory. And I want your guys' opinion on this theory here. I have a theory that, we all know Stonehenge and the pyramids. There's no way they could have been built by man.
Right.
I mean, a man's not going to build, a 500-foot pyramid, not even 1,000 of them. And then you go to the cave drawing and the drawings on the wall, and you see these figures bowing down to this weird looking creature, and the drawings of ships above them that they claim to be chariots of light. Do you guys think that maybe God that everybody prays to could in fact be an extraterrestrial?
That is greatly possible.
I think extraterrestrials were here. I think it's silly to think we're the only intelligent life in the entire universe. I mean, multiverse in my mind, that's just silly.
And actually, there is Indian lore of when the meteorites started to hit the Earth, that the people from inside the Earth brought them in. That might be your cave drawings and all. They were brought in to survive the meteor onslaught, and then later let back out. That's an Indian lore. So why wouldn't they be here to begin with and try to take care of our sorry asses?
There's also the discovery that if you take a look at some of these ancient structures, whether they be the Mayan temples or things like that. If you take a look at the foundations that they're built on, those foundations were already ancient before those temples were built. And supposedly they're ancient enough that they couldn't have been done by man, because man wasn't anywhere near beyond like cavemen at that point. If you guys have never ever read any of Graham Hancock's stuff, get the book Graham Hancock's Fingerprints of the Gods. It is a book about archaeology, but what he does is he takes all the archaeology, all the discoveries that archaeologists have thrown to the side because it doesn't fit their version of the stories they want to tell, and he will put them against each other across the globe, and you'll see the same stories, the same evidence throughout the globe that they could not have been told by the same people. So
in the series by Van Dyke, and he did the same thing.
Mhm.
The Chariot of the Gods.
Yes.
All that was the same thing. That was back in the 70s.
Right. And what I like about Graham Hancock is that when he puts the stuff out there for you and explains it all to you, he gives you all the facts, all the evidence. It goes right up to the line of saying what could have made that happen. He never says it's aliens. He puts it completely in your head, on your lap.
Yep.
Here's all the evidence. You decide. Was it God? Was it aliens? Up to you. What do you think?
Wow.
That's why I read all the Chariot of the God books.
Yeah.
Now, one last question here before it is 52, so
I'll keep it going.
Before it hits the hour mark, would you guys like to go an hour and a half, or would you like to call it at an hour?
Whatever you want, man. Let's have fun.
I'm good.
You are my guest. It is your decision.
Well, unless you kick us out, we'll hang out.
You keep asking, we'll keep talking.
All right.
Dylan,
Cass, I'm sorry, buddy, but we're running a 4-hour podcast tonight.
Well, I'll try my best.
We will allow coffee and potty breaks as needed.
Exactly. So, talking about aliens and everything, what are your guys' thoughts on what happens to your energy when you die? Are you reincarnated? Do you go to a different plane? Or does your energy just simply walk and roam the earth for all eternity?
Now, you're just asking many Reiki practitioners about energy.
That's something that we
are all made of energy.
Actually. I'm developing a thought on this one. When you come across a spirit and this poor spirit is reliving some part in its life over and over and over again, and you think, how could this go on forever? I'm starting to think that we are multi-dimensional beings, and perhaps I definitely believe in reincarnation. All right, let me put that out there first. I think there are many iterations of ourselves.
I'll be back.
That could actually go with the past life statements.
I think that's the case. But what if? All right, I'm going to put this out there. Now hang on to it. Bear with me. What if what we're seeing when we see a ghost is just one energetic part of an entire being that actually exists on multi-dimensional level? So there are a whole bunch of iterations of us. Now, I'm going to throw this one in here too. We all know that time is a little bit squirrely, right? Mm-hmm. Even our scientists now can play with time a little bit. If time is bendable and squirrely, and there are many iterations of us, what we're seeing is a part of one. This is even hard to explain because it's hard to get your brain around. Is a one piece of an entire being that exists on a multi-dimensional level. If you take time out of the picture, then there's a whole bunch of iterations of us that are all going on. And when we are ghost hunting, we see one part of that. Does that make any sense at all?
So, do you think we can encounter ourselves then?
Very good question. We have asked that very thing. What if you run
Current
into
self?
yourself?
The string theory.
Current self or past self?
That's called the doppelganger. When you see yourself, that means you are going to die soon.
Okay, so you mean your current self.
My doppelganger.
But I haven't seen my doppelganger, and I'm not dead yet.
Not quite dead yet.
I've never run into another iteration of me. We did see a doppelganger of the fellow who owns the Fleetwood Church, where we do all our events and stuff. It was one of the first full bodies I ever saw. We were there, and I saw him. I saw him plain as day, and he showed up later, and he was wearing the very same thing as when we saw him. It was very strange, but he hadn't kicked over, so I don't know.
Wow.
See, that was the first thing we've seen, a full body apparition.
I've seen a couple. Merlin sees them all the time.
Now, when I was a teenager, I saw myself walk by in my bedroom. So I have seen my doppelganger, and that was a long time ago. So I'm still not sure exactly what that was that I saw, but it was definitely me walking by.
Ryan, I strongly have to disagree with you on this one, bud. I mean, maybe not if you see your doppelganger, you die. But I think, that when somebody sees themselves, maybe it could be a rift in time or dimensions to where yourself on another dimension or plane has somehow made it to your dimension or plane, and you just happen to run into each other. Maybe that could be a good luck sign.
Or maybe it's a rip in the multiverse.
See, time gets broken, it can bend over on itself.
Or maybe it's just a spirit trying to wig you out. They can do that. They can take on the persona, the voice of people around them. And if you have a ghost with a really warped sense of humor, and he went, watch me freak her out. Look at this. Yeah, you just look up and see yourself walk by the door, and it's some ghost going, "Did you see the look on her face? It was that cool."
Now, Merlin,
yes.
Here we come back.
You're just a hat, Merlin.
Come back down, love. There you go.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
With you being legally blind, that heightened your senses, correct? Of like smell and everything.
In some ways.
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
My particular eye condition is basically it's a I have no peripherals, and then I have really bad cataracts, and everything is screwy. It's like I can see around me general shapes and sizes of things, and if I get up close to people, I can see who it is, maybe. I would think that I think some of it has, but it's been so gradual that I hadn't really noticed a change. I noticed a change in my hearing when I was working with Christy on editing, looking for evidence in an investigation that we'd recently done.
She's got a keen ear.
I realized I could hear stuff that it was like, wait, what was that? So I don't think I've
dimension to that.
Yeah, I don't think it must have done that a little bit. Whereas my normal hearing loss is also part of my eye problem. So, and I've noticed too that I could I can stand right next to a person and not hear a word that they say, or it's really garbled. But if you get me to listening to looking for evidence or listening for EVPs, I can pick them up like that. But
and that leads me to my next question. Now,
yes.
I'm assuming that the battlefield is surrounded by the woods.
Yes.
Yes.
And you guys are partially by the Appalachian Mountains, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with your eye condition and your smell and your hearing heightened, is it possible that you have ever come across, a mythological creature such as maybe a Bigfoot or something like that?
That would be laughing.
Well, to tell you the truth,
I have to laugh because we love her. There was no dire wolf in the woods that night. I'm not even, and being of Indian lore and knowing there is a elemental in the woods, I do trust them. They can become a cryptic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a Wendigo from lore, if you see one, you ain't alive. So take it at that. We've had somebody come up with a couple of those at St. James Church.
We have a dear friend who swears there are some up there.
But there is an elemental in the woods that help.
There is an elemental there. I deal with it every time I'm in that by St. James.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it Cheryl-Ann,
you can't say it.
I need another beer. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
They can become any shape.
Absolutely. And it's what you wanted to see, and that's what you saw. And it acted that way. And so it fit all the parameters, because that's even what it made me see too. But my original thought was it was a dire wolf, because they had the right shape, and the right actions for that. And that's what I see from now on. It gets confused if I do things that are out of character.
It always takes like a wolf shape out there, but
mm-hmm.
You know how I am. I'm the liking.
Boom. I have another theory and a thought for you guys that I'd like your opinion on. Now, a Bigfoot, a Yeti, whatever you want to call him, the Ohio Grassman, whatever. What do you guys call them in Virginia anyways?
They're a Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
You guys don't have like a special name or folklore for him, just a sassy or a big?
No, they're still Sasquatch.
Yeah,
all right. So what if, because nobody ever really sees a Sasquatch. They've come up with little bits of evidence, but nobody really sees one. Could it possibly be that a Sasquatch is either A, an alien, or B, a shapeshifter himself?
The answer to that is yes. Could be either one.
What do you think, in your opinion, is a Sasquatch?
Well, you see, we got to go back in time. A lot of people didn't believe in a panda bear.
Yeah.
They found it. They didn't believe in that little itty bitty whatever the hell it was. And they found the little pygmy goat looking thing. It could be a lost mammal, or it could be.
We've had people looking for Bigfoot in
got called
relatively well-populated areas in Virginia. And I'll be completely honest, I believe in all kinds of crazy stuff, but I have a hard time believing that there is a very large land mammal that's floating around in suburban Northern Virginia that nobody has found yet.
Yeah.
Using people's pools at night.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't found Timmy yet.
However, we have seen so many crazy ass things that, could be an alien making itself look that way. Yeah, sure it could. I definitely believe in aliens. There's no way that we're the only intelligent life in the universe. No way. Intelligent.
Then I could date myself.
Also, it's really obvious that sometimes spirits can take on whatever form that they want you to see. So there's all kinds of stuff going on. Does that mean that I think there's not a Bigfoot anywhere? The Yeti, that thing is a Himalaya lord. Who knows what's in the Himalayas?
But
in suburban Northern Virginia, probably not.
Yeah, in suburban Northern Virginia, no. But I think in practice, absolutely anything is possible. Is it possible that we have a large mammal living somewhere on our planet that we haven't seen yet? Absolutely.
Like the panda bear. Nobody believed in that for years, and then they finally found them.
People didn't believe in the giant squid either until we got them on camera, or they washed up on the shore.
Yeah.
We don't know everything. Right. We just can't. And they obviously must be intelligent because they stay the hell away from us.
I don't blame them.
Well, there's a little college, a little community college down by me, SCC. Dylan, have you ever been in SCC?
I've been inside, yes.
And have you noticed what it's plastered in?
No, I don't think I looked that hard.
It's plastered in Bigfoot stuff, bro. There have been numerous sightings of Bigfoots from Spokane in the wood to the Idaho woods out past Coeur d'Alene where you and Mom used to live up.
Mm-hmm.
And up towards Colville. And man, I mean, there have been a lot of rumors about a Bigfoot lurking around out there. But, it raises the question, and I'm going to be blunt with this. How the hell is a 7 to 12 foot tall, probably 400 to 600 pound hairy ass beast gonna just hide from society and nobody ever finds him?
Well, you see, my theory on that is that they hide in caves, right? And if they are aliens, then they're always going back to the mothership. And I believe they might actually be their own species of aliens instead of shape-shifting into something like that.
Right. So are you thinking that they have like portals they can go through? Or
well, if they had portals they can go to, I feel like there might have been a few people that went missing because they might have entered a portal like that. And then weren't able to get back out because they either died in their encounter with a Bigfoot,
or they stargated and just stayed there.
Yeah, crazy like that.
What do we have to say? I'd go.
In my opinion, I think a Bigfoot would make a good snuggle buddy.
Yeah, it's a cold winter night like tonight. Yeah.
Nice warm fire, roasted, whatever animal you can catch. A little bit of Yeti music.
Yeah. You sing to him.
There's a whole lot of stuff out there.
There's a lot of stuff we don't understand.
That we don't understand. A lot.
I mean, we'd be stupid to think we're the only intelligent life form in the universe.
We are intelligent, so,
Yeah.
Okay, we're not that intelligent.
That's right.
I know 2 + 2 = fish, so I'm a smart guy.
Just like 9 + 10 = 21.
Exactly. See, you're on the same track.
Right.
Whatever works for you.
I got it. Understand it.
Oh man. So do you guys? What's your guys' favorite folklore? I mean, if you had to choose one folklore, what would your favorite be and why?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Folklore.
You know what? We'll even go a step further. Your favorite folklore or mythological creature?
Does a megalodon count as a mythological creature?
You know, folklore, that's a tough one because we're kind of all in the business of trying to figure out what's folklore and what's real, right?
Right.
I'll go with Mothman.
There you go.
Ooh, that's a good one.
He showed up at what was it, Mount Pleasant, West Virginia,
Yeah.
and apparently was sort of the foreteller of the bridge crashing in December that they had.
Yeah.
And after that, apparently they never saw him again.
Now, isn't the Mothman the one that flies next to your vehicle for X amount of miles and then just kind of veers over and you swerve and wreck the car?
That's Jersey Devil.
Oh, that's that's my pick right there, Jersey Devil.
Well, there were a few stories in Point Pleasant about Mothman doing that to people's cars. I mean, the bridge wasn't the only place that he was seen.
Yeah. And then after that, he disappeared.
Wasn't there also I don't know if I could say sightings, but like people, like every plane crash, there's always a glimpse of him or something like that. Isn't there a myth about that?
I don't know if that's Mothman or another creature.
No, actually, a ghost story. Can't remember the airline that came down, but they used the parts to fix other airplanes, and before it would crash, the pilot that died in the crash would show up to the stewards and all, so let them know that something bad was about to happen. And all of a sudden, they would do whatever they could to save the passengers. That was back in, I want to say 60s, 70s. I can't remember the captain's name, but he was known to pop up if a part of that plane that went down was salvaged, put it in another one. He would show up trying to save that plane. Sorry,
Did he ever succeed in any of that?
Actually, there was a few plane crashes that were saved, if I remember correctly.
Raymond, my man, welcome to the podcast, brother. So I want to hop off subject just for one question here, and it's been itching to come out.
I'll go scratch it.
Oh, there we go. All right, we love mythological, we love folklore, we love ghosts and spirits, which means I know everybody in this podcast is a horror movie fan.
Yes.
I have to know who's your favorite horror movie character, guys.
Freddy Krueger.
I knew I raised a good boy.
That's a tough one. I can give you a favorite actor. Probably Vincent Price.
Vincent Price. Anything he does, I'll watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they kind of lost me in the 80s slasher stuff, but the old ghosty stuff, man, that is some good stuff.
The Captain in Ghost and Mrs. Muir. Love that. Not a horror movie, but it's a ghost.
Even when they started the silent movies, the really old ones. What is that one? The Cabin of Dr. Caligari? Isn't that one?
Cabin of Dr. Caligari.
Yeah.
Since I shall bring you the dead walking from the cabinet.
And
that was a great classic German horror flick along with Nosferatu.
Yeah.
My favorite is Lon Chaney Jr. Clayton did the best Wolfman ever, and I've watched the other remake of the Wolfman. I actually admire the way they did it. They did it proper with like him.
Very nice.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
It's here, go next door.
Yeah. And Raymond says his is Pee Wee Herman.
I guess.
David Marshall says Jason Myers. Raymond, you're trying to get me to go down a bad road, dude. Knock it off. I'm not going there tonight.
Not doing slashers.
Jason Myers. That's an interesting combination.
So, Shirley Ann, I have to agree with you. You know, Vincent Price was classic, and I have to know what is your favorite Vincent Price movie?
I don't have one because if he's on the screen, I will watch it.
My favorite of all time was the original House on Haunted Hill.
Ooh,
That was a great one.
Oh, I've seen that.
Good one.
That was
And of course, you know, you can't forget about, you know, his rare appearance in Thriller.
yeah. Well, he was asked for that one.
That was nice. That was hearing his voice come on when the first time I watched that video, I was at a friend's house, and hearing his voice, I got so excited. It was ridiculous.
His voice was just, I don't care. Give the man a poem and let him read, and I would sit there.
Yes.
Christopher Lee also.
His voice.
Yes.
I think
Very nice.
Christopher Lee might take the cake.
Then you throw in Anthony, Watkins, Christopher Watkins.
Christopher Walken, yeah.
And David Marshall says Vincent Price was a legend.
Yes.
Agreed.
And a very cool dude, man. Really. I mean, he actually he told his daughter he wasn't going to sign any autographs, and it was a father-daughter gig. He was supposed to go with her to the amusement park. He refused, told her he refused to sign any autographs. People came up, and he tried to refuse, and his daughter looked up and said, go ahead. And he started. He couldn't stop. He loved his fans.
Yeah. Fans love him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Too bad I never met the man.
Yeah.
So Merlin, I have to know, is Merlin your actual real name?
No.
Damn it.
Good, sir. It needs to be her real name.
No,
Actually, we got somebody that actually thinks you're a guy. We got to clear that up with that dude.
Yeah, I know. This is a nickname that, tell you the truth, has zero to do with ghosts, spirits.
That's cats.
Yeah. It was a nickname that just kind of happened over time. My husband had never really lived with cats or did anything like that. And we had this big black cat named Merlin. And he thought he was my husband's cat, and he was trying to explain to my husband what it was that he wanted. And I'd been around cats my whole life, so he's like, what does he want? What does he want? And I said, he wants blah, 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 blah. So my husband turned around and looked at me. He said, what are you, Merlin Sear? So I used it as a screen name in Yahoo Chat. It went from Merlin Sear to Merlin, and then when I moved here to Virginia, everybody that knew me on the internet that lived in Virginia, when I moved here, started calling me Merlin, and I got introduced that way, and it just stuck. It's just stuck.
Because it suits you so perfectly.
You all the see love.
You are.
I
I don't even answer to my own name anymore. Everybody goes, "What is your real name?" Hold on. Let me
Yeah, I'm the same way. I actually have a few nicknames. I've been known as Bup, which was when I was 2 years old. I couldn't say up, and I'd reach up and say, Bup, Bup. So that's what I got nicknamed, and I passed it on to Dylan. And everybody calls me Bubba. And when I was doing the haunted tours, like the Spirit Guides here, which you guys are awesome, haunted tours are great. I came up with my favorite bird and my favorite horror movie clown name combined.
Oh no.
I was known as Dr. Raven Spalding.
Oh my God.
There you go.
Dr. Spalding.
Dr. Raven Spalding in the house. I know. I think you should run with that one, sir.
Captain Spalding. You need to make it.
Oh yeah. Did you know I was actually on a podcast with a guy named Rick McCollum, who did all of the stunts in the Devil's Rejects for Sid Haig.
Well, Sid was an older gentleman, but
God damn it.
the awesome
Oh, that guy was phenomenal.
Captain Spalding. Yeah. We lost a lot of people over the years.
Well, Dylan, I'm going to give you the great honor, which I usually take, of asking tonight's last question.
Oh man.
And you better make it good, or I'm going to smack the crap out of you when this camera comes off, boy.
So I just want to say something real quick. It's really hard to talk when I don't know when the opening is. I'm still over here thinking to myself like, oh. But Merlin, I've been wanting to ask you a question for a long time, and the question was, what exactly do you see when you see the floating heads or full body apparition? Like, what are the spirits that you see? Do they take the same traits from their death? Like, if they were like shot or something, will they take that to their grave and like come as a spirit? You see it like a bullet hole or something like that.
There have been occasions that I have seen that. Now, when I see the heads and the faces and things floating in the air, usually they're not in color. There's very little color. They remind me kind of like tiny little. Have you ever seen TV static? When the screen just goes blank and it's a little fuzzies that are on there going. That's kind of what they look like to me, but smaller pixels.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen a few spirits that were full on color and extremely disturbing, who apparently when they died, their last memory of themselves or their body was in a very tragic, horrific condition.
Mm-hmm.
And it just stuck in their mind that is how they are, and they cannot change it. And I start to wonder sometimes, in one case, yes, a crawler was not a demonic little thing slinking around at a location. It turned out to be a young man who had been injured in a horrific accident and burned. And then on another occasion, I had a group of spirits who were embarrassed to come out or even be seen, because we found out later when they died that they were in the shower and they were naked. So, I think if the spirit, if their image of themselves or whatever it is that's going on with them at the time that they died, if that's more important than what they look like when they weren't injured, you might see it. But most of the time, I think what I'm seeing is their memory of themselves. This is what I look like. This is what some of them seem to put a lot of emphasis on what they consider to be their best feature or what they want you to notice the most.
Okay.
And
so,
do yourself credit if you get over that persona.
Do what?
You got a few of the spirits to get over that persona that they were projecting about the crawler. You told us about the one lad whose legs were blown off, and then
his body was,
and then he became himself, and
no longer
a crawler.
Yeah, I've spent some time communicating with spirit that are like that, and I mean, they're suffering and they want help. And I discovered over time that they really can change their reality. They just need to be reminded of it, or need to be shown that, or you need to project to them what it is that they can do and try to help them out. And this young man, I stood there and I watched him, and believed that he was whole. He believed that he could be healed. He believed that he was not that broken, burned body laying on the floor anymore.
Mhm.
And we've done this on investigations too, where we have spirits that they're in need of this, they want that, or they're not happy about something, and just tell them to, hey man, change it.
The
It
man
doesn't
in
need
the
to be
library.
that way. Huh?
The man in the library at the Masonic Temple.
Yes.
He was missing. He couldn't find his glasses, and he was so upset he couldn't read all these books. Now he has his time.
Yeah, and we talked to him and said, you can find your glasses. Coffee and donuts.
You don't need your glasses anymore.
You don't need your
Yeah,
glasses
you don't
anymore.
need your glasses anymore. That's what it was. His eyes were fine.
And he
And
was
then-
a camper.
Yeah. Then we introduced another spirit to coffee and donuts.
Yep. That was hilarious.
That was awesome.
Big deal.
We thought he wanted whiskey because he kept saying he wanted something to drink.
Oh, that was the other
Oh,
place.
that was a couple of different times.
Oh, okay.
But
That was
Merlin had
unique.
one saying, "Hey, we had coffee and donuts inside." I'm like, "What?" And then later on that night, the spirit spoke, "Coffee and donuts, good, downstairs."
Yeah, he'd never had. I don't think he had donuts. We think they've been around for a long time, what we call donuts, and then I found out, no, we really don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm talking to this ghost, and he's looking at. I was like, "Hey, man, there's coffee and donuts in there. Go get some." And he's looking at me like, "What? What's a donut?" He knew what coffee was. What's a donut? And I was like, "How am I going to explain to this guy what a donut is?" And I'm like, "Okay, hold on. Now, just work with me, man." So I imagined as hard as I could one of those Entenmann's cinnamon crumb donuts, the really good ones. And, you take a bite and you're taking a sip of coffee, and I'm imagining it at this guy, and I opened my eyes and I looked at him, and he's like, "Oh, wow." I'm like, "I know, right?" So later on that night, we were using the Echo Box and doing the Estes method. And Christy, I think you were the one on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, Christy he just loudly across the room goes, she's repeating what the ghost says. And she goes, "It's coffee and donuts. Try it. It's good."
Good.
Oh, guys, unfortunately, our time has dwindled down. I would like to thank. I would like to thank. I almost said spank the spirit guide. Thank you, spirit
Hey,
guide.
don't spank me.
Merlin,
Don't spank me.
Shirley Lynn.
We'll
Definitely.
take you and enjoy.
Thank you, Brian.
Merlin and Shirley Lynn. Look me up. Look me up on Facebook.
Will do.
I'm under Brian James. I got a picture of Freddy Krueger. I definitely want to keep in contact with all of you guys. We definitely need to do this again soon.
Oh yeah.
And
It's really
before we go, I have one thing that I have to show everybody before we go.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to say nothing. All I'm going to say, 2 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready.
Cool.
All right. We'll have to check that out.
I'm up for it.
I'm ready for it.
Definite.
Apparently you're going to be body slammed.
Well, thank you
Oh,
very much for having us back.
Yeah.
And
Awesome. Thank you.
we will sign off in our usual fashion.
Group.
All right. It has been
Guys.
my pleasure.
Peace, love, and
and
ghosts.
So,
Wow.
Pink
I thought that saying went peace, love, and Walmart.
No,
No ghosts.
There's no peace and love at Walmart. Not much anyway.
Walmart, you just go for
Yes.
a better self-esteem.
Well, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and throw you in the back, and I'm going to do my closing. It has been an honor and a privilege, and I promise you, within July or August, y'all are coming back for a round 3.
All right. We're
Wonderful.
on.
You take care, Brian.
Take
You
care,
too.
Nice to meet you, Dylan.
Take care,
Nice to meet
Brad.
you.
Well, Bup, I'd say tonight went pretty well for a podcast for me and you.
I will say, I said this before, but it was really hard to talk when I didn't know when the openings were. I was really trying to think like, can I talk now? Oh, no, I can't, not yet. Someone else is talking. I was like, okay, how about now? I'm having to jump back and forth on when I could talk. It was hard.
And to all of you loving fans out there that watched this tonight, thank you for being with us. And we will be back with you guys Tuesday night for Richard Guthrie and Shannon Boomgard's Into the Mystic. But as for Dylan over here and your ghost host, we bid you guys a fair due. And y'all better get ready for Parathrashed Sundays, because it's coming the 27th.
And it's gonna be fun.
Oh, yes. You guys have a ghoulishly good night and a hauntingly good day. Peace out, y'all.